Imagine working at the heart of the greatest financial party the world has ever seen. You know the music's fake, the drinks are watered, but you still believe you can grab a handful of cash before the bouncers arrive. In 1720, London, that party was the South Sea Company. This isn't just history. It's a look at how a belief in phantom wealth and false maps can blind even the smartest people. Meet John, the South Sea Company's official cartographer. John's job was to draw maps of the vast, wealthy trade routes to the Spanish colonies. The problem? Those routes barely existed. He was drawing a fantasy. He watched the stock climb from £100 to £300 while the ships he was supposed to track sat idle in port. John heard the roars of the crowd and felt the creeping, dangerous thought. What if the value lies not in the trade I know is non-existent, but in the map I am forced to draw? John's first hurdle wasn't just greed. It was selling his own lie. The company's brilliant plan was built on government debt, but the stock's astronomical price was justified by the promise of future trade, the very trade John was paid to illustrate. He drew beautiful, detailed maps showing massive gold transfers and booming ports, knowing that the ink was the most valuable thing on the paper. He saw the directors, men who paid him to draw these lies, use the stock as collateral for massive, cheap loans to pump the price. It was a financial snake eating its own tail. Yet, watching his superiors become dukes overnight, the fantasy he drew began to feel more real than the truth. Finally, a director pointed to John's latest map, a beautiful fabrication, and winked. "This map, John, is worth more than all the gold on it. Don't be the only one working for your shillings." John, fighting the logic of the known world, broke. He cashed out a family annuity and bought shares at over £500. He wasn't buying a company, he was buying a permanent ticket on the fantasy ship he helped launch. If John's struggle between known reality and compelling hype rings a bell, hit that like button. And if you want to protect your portfolio from mass hysteria, make sure you subscribe to the Animated Advisor. For a blissful season, John was right. His shares soared, peaking near £1,000. He was a paper millionaire, smugly dismissing the truth he knew. He was a master of his domain, living the lie. The ultimate irony was the sideshow of the bubble companies. John heard colleagues howling with laughter over a prospectus for a company offering an advantage that, famously, nobody to know what it is. That's a direct quote. People were so blind, they invested in literal secrets, a market of total fantasy. The directors, seeing the market flooded, panicked. They pushed Parliament to pass the Bubble Act to crush their competitors. But this act of aggression was a spotlight on their own fraud. The clock struck midnight. By autumn, the South Sea price was in freefall, dropping back to £100. John watched his own maps, the grand promises of wealth, become scraps of worthless paper. He saw the director who had encouraged him now facing a violent mob. The truth had finally caught up. John didn't just lose his money. He lost the illusion of control he thought his insider position afforded him. John's descent was painful, but his 3 lessons, straight from the architect of the illusion, are critical. Price is not the territory. The stock's price was a magnificent map. Its actual value was a tiny island. John drew the map, so he should have known better than to follow it. Never invest in a map you know is fake. Always check a company's fundamentals. If the reason for a price rise is based on a story rather than data, you're betting on narrative, not net worth. Inside information is not immunity. The hype is stronger. John had the inside track. He saw the idle ships and the non-existent trade. Yet the fear of missing out on an astronomical easy fortune overwhelmed his professional knowledge. Your investment strategy is your boss. Write your plan down and stick to it. Emotional discipline is a better financial asset than any insider information. Simplicity is sanity. The Secret Advantage Company wasn't clever. It was a desperate scam. When an investment requires complex stories or political connections to justify its value, it's designed to confuse you into forgetting basic due diligence. Stick to your circle of competence. If you can't explain an investment in a few simple sentences, don't own it. Clarity is the ultimate financial superpower. John packed up his drawing tools, humbled and broke. He learned that the simple, boring truth always wins out over the most exciting, fabricated lie. The South Sea Bubble teaches us to fear the unruly emotions we bring to the table more than the market itself. Don't chase the story. Chase the value. What financial disaster should the animated advisor analyze next? Tell us in the comments.